And some even more breaking news on this NFL trade deadline day, with the Seattle Seahawks acquiring wide receiver Rashid Shaheed from the Saints in exchange for a 4th and 5th round pick. That has been confirmed by our lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones. Shaheed had 44 receptions this season for 499 yards and a pair of touchdowns in 9 games with the Saints. All right, for more on this deal, we welcome back Pete Prisco here. Pete, we've seen some wideouts on the move. We saw Jacoby Myers go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now we're seeing Rashid Shaheed go over to Seattle. So what does this ultimately tell you about the wide receiver market at this moment, as there are still a handful of wide receiver needy teams in the Bills and the Broncos and the Steelers?
Yeah, and I thought the Bills particularly would be in the market for Rashid Shaheed. Maybe they were. They just weren't willing to give up the picks. I think this is a great move for Seattle. Look, you look at their numbers, 9.6 per attempt for Sam Darnold, leads the league by far, and now you get another field stretcher. I mean, this is a really good move to add this to the offense. I was talking to a guy in the league the other day. He said Seattle might be the best team in the league, and now you get even more weapons for Sam Darnold to go on the outside. We know Smith and Jigba's having an unreal season. You know, Torrey Horton's emerging as a player, and now you add Shaheed to that group. I love what they've done, and this is actually a really good trade for the Seahawks.
Yeah, you said you love what they've done, but where do you see him fitting in specifically on the depth chart in that wide receiver room?
Oh, he's going to play. You know, nowadays, you know, Cooper Kupp's there too. We forget that, but he's been dinged up a little bit. So I think this is a difference maker in terms of speed down the field, and it opens up things. When they have a lot of young tight ends they like to throw the football to, so it opens up the middle of the field. And anytime you can get somebody that can take the top off, it just works. And I think when you have a deep ball thrower like Sam Darnold, remember, they run the ball. They want to run and play action and throw down the field. And so far it's worked. And now you add this into the offense. I love this move for them.
What about the Saints side of things? Because we were having the discussion earlier about the Bills calling for Chris Olave. There's a report out there about that. Do you think the Saints are done dealing today?
They're not done dealing, and they shouldn't be done dealing. They've had a lot of cap hell over the years. They've pushed out money year by year by year, and ultimately that catches up to you. And look at the roster. And so they got to rebuild, and they know that. And the cheapest way to rebuild is with draft picks. So stock up draft picks and try and fix your team that way. So it makes sense. I think they would look, you know, Olave's name has been mentioned. They've said they're not going to trade him, but everybody has a price. We know that. So you might be able to make a deal for him. I think Demario Davis is a player. If your team's out there looking for a veteran linebacker who comes in with a toughness, maybe he's available. Some of their corner, Lante Taylor, maybe he's available. So I think there are guys that you might be able to pry away from them. They have to rebuild that roster, and age and money have crippled that roster, and I think that's a problem for them. So why not get draft picks, try and get younger, and get more players in there that you can develop?
Everybody certainly has a price, i.e. Sauce Gardner. We did not think that he would be on the move, but they said the return was too good, right? Want you to grade the trade for both sides, starting with the Seahawks. I know you said he liked it, but what's the grade?
Yeah, that's a B+.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to give it an A. I think it's a B+. I think it's a nice move by Seattle. I love where this team is heading, by the way. And I know people say I'm a Seahawks hater. I'm not.
They say that?
I used to criticize the quarterback back in the day named Russell Wilson, but I'm not a Seahawks hater. I love this team, and I think defensively they're really good. Adding another deep ball threat really opens up the offense for Sam Darnold. I give it a B+.
Okay, so a B+ for Seattle. What about the Saints? What's the grade there?
It's a B, because they have to do these. They have to make these moves. It's a terrible position to be in when you're in an organization when you know you have to get rid of a guy that you like, but you can't afford him, and you have to start rebuilding. And draft picks are cheap. You know, that's the thing about draft picks. People just say, oh, well, if you draft well and develop, they're cheap. And that means your salary cap can get back to where it needs to be.
Yeah, by the way, this is the 23rd trade of the season, the most trades that we've seen in season in the past 25 years. Why is that?
Because you see desperation in this league, and I think when you get desperate and you think you're getting close to it, you go try and make a move. When you look at it, because anybody can win a Super Bowl now. Do you see a dominant team? I mean, every week it changes from week to week, so there's no dominant team. So if you're one of those teams that has a winning record, you look around, you say, hey, we can make a run, and so you go make a move. And I think that has something to do with it. Then you have the bad teams that have cap problems, and they realize they're not going to do anything this year. get out from underneath it, start over again, and try and rebuild.
Okay, Pete, we certainly appreciated grading the trade and sticking around with us here on this NFL trade deadline day, where, again, we talked about Sauce Gardner, and then the most recent one were the Seahawks acquiring wideout Rashid Shaheed from the Saints. Again, that is in exchange for a 4th and 5th round pick. Make sure you stay locked in here on CBS Sports HQ all day long. We got you covered, all the trades that are going down and grades for each and every one of them right here on HQ.